All right, looks like we're live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Adobe InDesign Live. My name is Terry White. It's my pleasure to be streaming to you live once again on InDesign Tuesday. So let me just make sure I got everything up and running here so I can see your lovely comments. Hello, Tamika. Hello. Let's see who else we have here. Hello, Tamika. Hello, Lynn. Hello. Plamen, if I'm saying those names incorrectly, I apologize. I am horrible at pronouncing names. But I do my best. So Cassie, Babish, Roy, welcome everyone. Albuquerque in the house. Victoria, what's up? All right, so let me just check one more thing here and we can dive right in and get going. Let me just refresh this page. And people from all over the world. Welcome Sharon, welcome Lee. And hola. All right, we're just about there. Let's do one more thing and we go. All right, so folks, welcome to Adobe InDesign Live on Tuesday. Once again, my pleasure to be streaming to you live today. And we're going to talk about a question I get sometimes, and it's, hey, I noticed there's like a couple of Photoshop apps for iOS and Android. There's like Illustrator Draw, and there's XD, and there's all these apps, but I've never seen an InDesign app for my mobile devices. I've never seen an InDesign app for iPads or Android tablets or iPhones or Android phones. How come there's no InDesign app? And there is, it's just not called the InDesign app. It's called Adobe Comp CC. I know that name probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you. It's probably Comp's only downfall is the name because people don't associate that name with any other product. You've got Photoshop Mix, you've got Photoshop Fix, you've got Lightroom, CC, you've got all these apps that you know immediately which desktop product they're tied to. The reason that Comp isn't just called InDesign Mobile or InDesign, iPad or whatever is that because Comp isn't just for InDesign. Comp works with Photoshop, it works with Illustrator, it works with InDesign, it works with Adobe Muse. I know, sad to hear about Adobe Muse, but it works with Adobe Muse. It works with all four applications. So that's why it isn't just for InDesign. It can also work standalone. You don't even need to tie it to a desktop app unless you want to. Yep, it's called Adobe Comp, C-O-M-P. You've got it right, Saul. Adobe Comp CC, available for free in the App Store and the Google Play Store. So let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to pop over to my computer where I've got my iPad. Hang on one second here. Let me just wake it up. There we go. I've got my iPad Pro running here. Just connected to my computer so you guys will be able to see it. And it is Apple Pencil aware, even though I don't need to run it with an Apple Pencil, but I've got the pencil here, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. I'm going to go ahead and pop into my Adobe folder, and in my Adobe folder, it's the third icon at the top, the one next in between Photoshop Fix and Lightroom CC. So again, all the other ones kind of make sense. Photoshop Sketch, Photoshop Mix, Lightroom CC, Illustrator Draw, those all kind of tie into the desktop products, but Comp really didn't tie into any one product, so they gave it a name for quickly comping things up on your mobile devices. So when you launch Comp and after you sign in, you will be presented with any documents you've created at this point. And I love Comp. Comp doesn't get anywhere near the amount of recognition it should because where I use Comp the most, not so much for creating layouts on the fly and then using them on the desktop, even though that's what we're going to do today. What I use it for is when I need to make a custom layout, an Adobe Spark Post isn't enough. In other words, Spark Post is great for making quick layouts for social media or banners or things like that. But Spark, you're still limited to certain things that you could, just can't do anything you want. Whereas Comp is the app that lets me start with a blank page and literally do anything I want. I'm not limited by any particular features or number of images or anything like that. I can design it any way I want to. So we're going to prove that today. So in the bottom right-hand corner, the big purple or bluish plus sign there, when you tap that, it's going to give you a bunch of different layouts to start with. So you've got your most recent ones at the top. I created one called letter wide. You've got devices. So if you're trying to design something that goes on a specific device size, you've got those in there. You've got print layout. So if you literally want to design something for print and then make it a print document later on in InDesign, Photoshop, or Illustrator, you could. You've got web formats for, again, most common web sizes. You've even got some for social media. So even though Post is my favorite social media app for creating social media posts, that doesn't mean I can't design something from scratch here in Comp and have it be the right size. So I've used this a lot of times to make Facebook cover images that were designed a specific way with the images and text I wanted on them. And then, of course, you've got my format. So if you want to create a custom format that just isn't in Comp, I need it to be 8 inches by 4.2 inches and 300 pixels per inch. Then you can go and make it whatever you want. I see some friends that just popped in. Hello, Akil. Hello, Amber. Hello, Nuno. Hello, Stefanos. Hello, everyone that just popped in. Welcome. We're talking about Adobe Comp CC, a free app for iOS and Android users. All right, so for example, even in the print sizes, like I do letter all the time, but I noticed there wasn't one for letter wide. So I went in and said, I don't have to not be able to make a wide document. I just tap new format. I called it letter. Actually, I already have one called letter wide. So why don't we make this one LTR wide? And instead of units and points, I want it units and inches. And I can even set my, my resolution. So 300 pixels per inch, make it a nice high quality print document. And then width and height, I need this to be 11 inches by 8.5 inches because there was no wide preset. And then I save it. And then that becomes one of my formats down at the bottom I can always choose from. So you only have to build your own custom formats once, and then you can use them over and over again. But we're not going to use a standard one. We're just going to use 8.5 by 11 letter tall. And then once I choose that, I get my blank page. This is where this is different than like using Spark, where you normally are remixing a template. Even though you can start blank, even when you're starting blank, you have to pick something to be on the page, whether it's an image, a color, or something else. I can start with whatever I want here. So if I don't want any image or anything, I just type in text. If I want just images, I can have just images. I can have as many images as I want, as much text as I want, and I can even use Typekit fonts, which is this is the only app from Adobe that lets you not only use all the fonts that it comes with, but it lets you sync any of your Typekit fonts that you would be using on the desktop on your mobile devices as well. All right, so how do I get started? Well, if I were in InDesign, I have a choice. I could either place things on the page, or I could create frames first and place things in those frames. Comp works the exact same way. So for example, if I go up to the upper right-hand corner, I see a little image icon up there. If I tap the little image icon and I say, hey, go grab a photo from my files, from my Lightroom photos, from this particular album, and I bring in that photo. All right, I bring it in, and just like InDesign, it puts it on the page and creates a frame for it. But this is a mobile device, and so it's used to you working with this object, this tool, your finger. So for example, if I wanted to delete that, I can just simply scribble through it to delete it. If I want to create a frame from scratch, I can do it a couple of ways. As we know in InDesign, usually a frame that's going to place an image or place something in it has an X in it. You do that the same way here in Comp. So I just draw a big X like so, and that creates a frame. So you create frames pretty much the same way with the same idea that you would do in InDesign on the desktop. So for example, now I can pick that frame up, move it around, put it in the upper right-hand corner, or left-hand corner, I should say. I can spread it out. I can do whatever I want. Okay, that's cool. I got my placeholder there for an image, and of course I can make that whatever size I want. And it's even giving me a readout of the size. So if I need that to be exactly 4 inches high, exactly 4 inches high. Oh, am I moving it? I'm moving it. Okay, let's try and do that one more time. I may not get it right on there, but you can specify it numerically if you need to. All right, there, we got it 4 inches high. Now let's say that I want to have a headline underneath that one. So I'm going to take my finger or Apple Pencil once again and just draw a line and put a dot on it. That tells it that that's going to be text. Then, of course, I can make that any size I want. That's going to put in the sample text until I change it to the text I need it to be. Now I want to put in some more placeholders, but I want them to be a different shape. So I'm going to draw a circle, but with an X in it. So let's draw a circle, put an X in it, and it knows to make that a circular frame. Of course, I can make that whatever size I want, pick it up, move it around. I get smart guys letting me know when it's centered. But now I want 2 more that are exactly the same. And I know if I draw it with my finger, it will not be the exact same size every single time. So now you notice that while it's selected at the very bottom, excuse me, at the very bottom, I've got the ability to choose menu options. So one of the menu options on the bottom right is duplicate. So I can just simply duplicate that and duplicate it again. And now I've got 2 that are exactly the same size. I get smart guys to let me know when I've got it lined up. And of course, I can use the smart guides again to let me know I've got it perfectly lined up. And now I've got that spaced part just the way I want. Hi, what is this? This is Adobe Comp CC, a free app on the App Store or Google Play Store for your mobile devices. All right, so now that we got the placeholders in place for the images that I'm going to put in, the next thing I want is some more text, but I want paragraph text this time. So how do I get some more paragraph text, or paragraph text in the first place? Instead of me drawing 1 line and putting a dot on it, I'm going to draw 3 lines. 1, 2, 3, put a dot on it. Then it knows that that's going to be a bigger text box with images on it. You also notice that there's a little scale on the right-hand side, a little control there. That lets me control the point size. So if I just scroll that down or scale it down, I'm making my text smaller in point size, and then I get my ability to lay that out any way that I want. Now, of course, if I need it to be smaller, I can make it smaller. I can make the point size for the text smaller just by controlling the little widget on the right-hand side. Okay, now let's say that excuse me, one time. Sorry about that. Let's say that I want one more image on the bottom to kind of be like a footer type image. So once again, I'm going to draw an X. It's going to make my footer size graphic for the bottom. And we'll just go ahead and pull that out and make that a little smaller. And now my layout is ready to go. So at this point, and Tamika, I know it's awesome. Comp doesn't get anywhere near the recognition it should, especially for being a free app. All right, so now I've got my 8.5 by 11 pretty much laid out, but it's just got nothing in it. It's got empty placeholders for images. It's got text that's not the text I want it to say. So what can I do now? Well, now I can start, I can say I'm done, and I can send this over to the desktop to finish, or I can say, no, I'm not done. I can finish more of my work while I'm here with the client, or while I'm mobile, or while I'm sitting on a plane or a train or in a car as the passenger. I can do any of this work whenever I need it. So for example, I'm going to put the Apple Pencil down for a sec. And let's say that I want to put an image in that top frame. So I'm going to go ahead and select the top frame. And you'll notice that at the very top, I have that image icon that I used the first time to bring in an image. But because I have the frame selected at the very bottom, the same icon is there. And that's the one for this frame that I've got. So the bottom left, tap it and says, okay, where do you want to get your picture from? Do you want to take a picture, get one from your device? Do you want to use your Creative Cloud storage? Do you want to get one from the marketplace? Do you want to get one from Adobe Stock? So wherever you want to pull your image in from. Does this work on any iPad or does it need to be an iPad Pro? It absolutely does not need to be an iPad Pro, but I don't know what the minimum iPad is that it'll run on. You can probably go check at the App Store to see what iPad or iOS more than likely it specifies. But definitely it does not need to be a Pro. All right, so next thing is, for example, let's say I want to get an image. I don't have the image. Let's say I want to just go get one from Adobe Stock. So if I go to Adobe Stock, it brings up the browser interface right in Comp. And so I can search for a summer type image. And here come all the summer images that prompt me by default as the top ones. And if I see one I kind of like, I can choose it. I kind of like the one where people are having fun, so let's use that one. Now, if I'm ready to license it, I can buy it right here on the spot. But if I'm just mocking stuff up, I'm not really sure if the client's going to like that image or not. Maybe they're going to want something different. I can just save it as a preview, and I can tell it which of my Creative Cloud libraries to save it into. And I've got a bunch. I think the one I want is at the bottom, Adobe Live 2018. All right, so not only does it save it to my library so I'll know which image I comped, but it'll also place it watermarked free inside my layout so that I can see if that's the one I want or show it to the client, see if they like it. Next one. All right, so now let's finish up the images and we'll talk about text. So I want to go ahead and place something in here. And this one I do want to use one of my own. I don't want to go ahead and get one from stock. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the icon in bottom left. I'm going to say from my CC libraries, actually from my Lightroom photos, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this one of my fashion images here. And now I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. She's too low in the image. I need her higher in the image. So if I double tap, I can see the entire image, just like you can see the entire image inside of InDesign if you hold down your mouse. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up and get more of her inside that circle. Next one, actually I don't need to double click. I'm just going to go ahead and say same thing. Go grab one of my images from Lightroom. Let's bring in these happy people here and we'll bring them in. Great, they fit perfectly. Now let's go ahead and grab this one and we'll say from my files one more time. We'll go get one of my Lightroom images one more time and we will go get this nice mountain scene here. We'll bring that one in. Okay, so now I've got my three images that have nothing to do with each other. They're just random images. And we got one more for the bottom. And again, I can use my own images from the device, from the cloud storage, from wherever your images are located. We'll go ahead and get one more, and I'll use one of my Iceland images. Let's use a nice footer image, would be something like this one. All right, open that one in. Same thing, I can double tap it and say, no, no, no. I want to see more of the sunset in that image. Let's bring that down a bit. There we go. I can always, of course, make it taller, make the frame bigger or smaller to see more of it. Okay, so now that I got the images laid out where I want, does this work on any iPad? Oh, yeah, Aaron answered. I thought that was a new question, Sally. All right, so just making sure I'm not missing anything. Hello, Eileen. Welcome. All right, so now let's talk about the text. Let's deal with the text. So let's say that I double tap on the text frame and I can now type in whatever I want to say. So I can say, looking forward to summer vacation. Sorry, no spell check other than the one built into your iOS device or your device. So if you spell it wrong, it's going to be wrong. All right, now, text on the bottom. If you've seen me type, it's really not a big deal. You just type whatever you'd want to be here, and it would replace it. So I'm not going to waste time typing. All right, next, and Molly says, super cool to prototype layout on the fly with the client. Exactly, while you're sitting there and just installed on your Android. Great. All right, so now I've got this in place. Now let's talk about something that's unique to comp. I mentioned this earlier. We're going to do two things. We're going to talk about color. We're going to talk about, that's not unique to comp, but we're going to talk about color first, and then we'll talk about something that's unique. Let's say I want to change the color of this. Well, you notice that the color swatch is at the bottom there. It's black. I can go ahead and just tap on that, and of course, I can use any color in the spectrum. But you'll also notice that I have libraries there too in the upper right. So if I wanted to use a specific color from my client, a color theme that I've been using with the client or using with this project, I can go ahead and grab one of those colors. So I can go ahead and grab that burgundy color for the text, and now that burgundy color from my swatches is there, from my themes is there. So next up, and that was in one of my CC libraries. Next, I want to go ahead and now talk about fonts. So let's go ahead and select that one more time. And let's go to the type menu, and you notice that there's a choice for font. We've seen fonts before inside mobile devices. That's not a big deal. This is what's a big deal. that you not only get to choose the fonts that come with the application, so to speak, but you get to browse for new fonts that are based on Typekit. And all of these fonts that I'm seeing are the ones on my desktop that I've synced with Typekit. So people that have watched me before know that I use Ephra as one of my favorite sans serif fonts, and they're all my Ephra fonts. So if I wanted Ephra bold or Ephra heavy, I can now sync that down and then choose it, and then that becomes the font for that particular text. But let's say I didn't have a font that I wanted to use yet. Go back to Type, go back to Browse for New Fonts, Browse for New Fonts, and it brings up Typekit, just like it does on your desktop. So now you can find any of the Typekit fonts and use them. You can filter, you can see all your synced fonts. These are the ones that I actually use. Or I can just go find something new. So for example, let's find, let's filter based on, let's say I'm looking for a sans serif. All right, so I'm looking for a sans serif font. It shows me all the sans serif fonts that are available. I would probably use my Ephra, but let's say that I like this Macho, which is really not that macho. All right, so let's say I like Macho Thin. I can go ahead and sync that one down and close this and go back to my list where Macho Thin should be. Yep, there it is, Macho Thin, and now that becomes Macho Thin, a font that I hadn't used. Just installed on an iPad 2. That's as low as it gets, folks. So if it works on an iPad 2, then you should be pretty good. Because Apple doesn't support anything below the 2. So you're good to go. All right, so now we've got this pretty much ready to go. And again, if I wanted to resize that frame, if I wanted to put in a duplicate of it to have 2 frames side by side for maybe 2-column look, I can have that as well. And I get the smart guys to let me know that that's going to work out great. Now, if you did everything on your iPad and you're all set, one more thing. I'm not done yet. Let me draw a line and a dot next to it. Make a headline there, and let's go ahead and put the word, all caps, summer. All right, let's make that nice and big. Make the frame for that nice and big. Make the text nice and big. And we're going to do 2 things. We're going to change the font. This time I'm going to use the font that I always use when I want something thick and heavy. Well, most of the time, not always. Fat Frank Heavy. And we'll use that. Great. We got a nice summer look there. And I can, of course, change the color. Let's pick a better color, maybe a lighter color like that. And I can also lower the opacity of it. So something like that. It might be a little hard to see with that color. Let's pick a different darker color. How about that? There we go. So you can get something a little bit more dramatic, even using, even using transparency. Okay, so now we've got this ready to go. Now, if I were done, if I put in all the rest of the text and I was ready to go, this was finished, well, my sharing options include share as a PDF. So it will build a PDF from the document you just made and allow you to share it to anybody. Message it, email it, however you share your PDFs. So you can use this end to end and be done just on your mobile device. Hey, I need a quick flyer for whatever. I need a quick banner for my social media site. I need a quick whatever with a client. Here you go. Boom, knocked out, done, ready to go. Send it, PDF. But if you said, hey, Terry, you said you're going to show us how to do InDesign layouts on mobile, then the other share option is send to InDesign. So if I say send to InDesign or Photoshop or Illustrator, you notice that it's spinning in the upper right-hand corner because what it's doing right now is building an InDesign document. Why aren't I using this? Lee, from today you will be. All right, so it is now building that InDesign document, which is really an IDML file, and syncing it to my Creative Cloud. Once it's done, I'm trying to give it time, I'm stalling, but once it's done, I think I'll get a little check mark letting me know it's done and that it's finished and synced and finished and synced. But once it's done, something magical will happen if this all works right. All right. I know, Lee, right? How come she's not using this yet? Well, you will be soon. All right. As soon as this is finished syncing. There we go. You get the little blue check mark. And the magical thing that should happen. Hang on. Let me go. There we go. Boom. It popped up in InDesign. I just didn't give it a second long enough to do it. Here's my InDesign document ready to go. So InDesign opened, if it wasn't already opened, and open this document that it's synced to your desktop. So as soon as you're finished on your mobile device or while you're still out and about, you say send InDesign, and it is literally waiting for you when you get home or back to your office. Fully editable, fully changeable, fully whatever, with all the content and everything there ready for you to go. So you want to now put the right text in. You can put the right text in that frame that needs to have the text. So if someone creates a layout in Adobe Comp and they share it with me in a way that I can, no. There is no way for you to send a comp, that I know of, to send a comp layout to another person as a comp layout. So they would have to send it to their desktop. Now, if they send it to their desktop and it just doesn't open because they don't have InDesign CC, they could still send you that file, the IDML file that opened up. It buries it in one of your Creative Cloud folders somewhere. Actually, I think now we're a little bit better about where we put it. But yeah, they could send it to you even though they don't have InDesign to open it up with. They could send you the IDML file and away you'd go. But again, you'd be missing things like the links. So it's a little bit more complicated than them just sending it to you. So remember, where did I get these things from? The images got linked from my libraries. The images got linked from my Lightroom folder, or Lightroom album. So if you didn't have access to all the stuff they put in it, that becomes another issue. So comp is really not really for sending to other people unless it's a PDF. It's more about you working with you. Can you do 2 com pages? If you mean 2 column pages or 2 comp pages maybe is what you meant. No, unfortunately at this point, comp is still a one document, one at a time page. So if I needed a second page, I'd have to make a new comp layout to do it. Sadly, I wish it were multiple artboards or multiple pages, but it is currently still one. All right. And Jamie, I'm glad you like the awesome tips and those are your words, not mine. All right. I'm glad you like the tips. And again, I show comp from time to time, and people are always giving me the same responses that you guys give me. Oh my God, I can't believe this exists. It's free. How come I'm not using this? How come I don't have this on my iPhone, my iPad, my Android phone, my Android tablet, just in case I ever need to do something quick? You can now that you know. So go forth, pass the knowledge on, share this video, let other people know. Can you do one of these on Adobe Capture too? Yeah, I will be doing one on Adobe Capture soon, like this week. I have one scheduled for tomorrow, but I think we're going to push it out to Thursday, and that one's going to be on the facebook.com/Adobe CC Design page. So not the InDesign page, Adobe CC Design. If you go there right now, the event is already there. The stream is already there for Capture, but it might get pushed out to Thursday. So just click a reminder for that event, and you'll be updated as to when it actually goes live. All right, so with that, I am way out of time. Guys, you got to get this app. Comp CC rocks. There it is, Comp. So if I close that now, not only is that project there for me to continue working on, but it will sync it to my other devices that run Comp as well. So I could go open that up on my iPhone and start working on it. Or I can work on something on my iPhone, come back to my iPad and work on it. It syncs it across every device you're signed in with your Adobe ID, and you have Comp installed. And so you see all the projects you worked on before. And of course, if you're done with the project, you can delete it. Like, for example, I don't think like this one. I'm done with that project. Yep. I don't want to open it, but let's see. Select. It's not letting me select it. Okay, but anyway, I could say I'm going to delete this one. And now that project is being deleted across the board. So it would be deleted across all my devices as well. So it's like you have one cloud storage of your comps. And if you mess with one somewhere, you're messing with it everywhere. If you delete it somewhere, You're deleting it everywhere. So, and these aren't taking up any real storage on your device because they're being stored in the cloud until you actually start using them, and they don't take that much space anyway. So check out Adobe Comp CC, free app on the iOS App Store, on the Google Play App Store. And of course, it's available for iOS and Android devices. Like I just did it on the iPad. So someone just said they installed it on an iPad 2. That's as old as it gets. So you should be good from anything on an iPad 2 on up. So with that said, cheers everybody. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one, either tomorrow or Thursday. I'm also doing a Lightroom session on Thursday, my monthly Lightroom stream on the Lightroom Facebook page. Bye everybody. Take care. Catch you.